This is a real app? It'll completely change your life, bro.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're looking at news stories from 2023 that left us with countless thoughts, but few words.
It's really about adding as much value to everyday life as possible.
The Chinese spy balloon. Not since the Balloon Boy hoax has the media landscape been engulfed in more hot air. The U.S. first caught wind of the Chinese spy balloon on January 28th, as it floated over Alaska. It's believed that the Hainan-based balloon was aiming for Guam and Hawaii, but it blew off course through Canada and several U.S. states before the Air Force got the go-ahead to shoot it down off the coast of South Carolina on February 4th.
Suddenly we saw something take off from the jet and knew it was a missile, and you could see the explosion. Didn't hear anything, but saw the explosion of the balloon.
Although described as a surveillance balloon, China insists it was a civilian airship gathering weather data.
The Biden administration making it clear they're not getting it back.
Either way, this wasn't an isolated incident. Aside from further fueling tensions between the world's most powerful countries, it begs the question, how many UFOs throughout history were actually spy devices?
I made clear that the presence of this surveillance balloon in U.S. airspace is a clear violation of U.S. sovereignty and international law.
Greece wildfires.
It literally felt like we were in some sort of apocalypse.
The National Interagency Fire Center's data suggests that 2023 was the calmest wildfire season across the contiguous U.S. in over 2 decades. Of course, that stat doesn't extend to the devastating Hawaii wildfires. As for the rest of North America, Canada suffered its worst wildfire season to date. Expanding to the whole northern hemisphere, Greece faced what's been described as Europe's largest wildfire since 2000.
People are living very different realities across Greece. There are those who are battling wildfires, there are those who are forced to evacuate, but then there are people like the locals behind me who are coming here for the golden hour of the beach to escape the heat.
Caused by intense heat waves and reported human interference, the Greece wildfires claimed various landmarks, while over 20 lives were lost.
Tens of thousands of locals and tourists have been evacuated from danger areas. The European Union has sent firefighter reinforcements to try to help.
More than 20,000 fled, resulting in Greece's biggest wildfire evacuation ever. Often seen as the ideal haven for a Mediterranean getaway, some have questioned where life in Greece goes from here, especially if these patterns continue.
But they aren't giving up. Greece has declared war on these fires. They will continue to fight.
The Turkey-Syria earthquakes. The Marrakesh-Safi earthquake shook the world, but no natural disaster took a heftier toll in 2023 than the Turkey-Syria earthquakes.
Desperation is haunting this city. For the love of God, please help us, she begs us. God, I'm waiting for help, she says.
The staggering number of lives lost, more than 50,000, is especially haunting considering that many deaths and injuries arguably could have been prevented. In less than 24 hours, a record-high 7.8 magnitude earthquake by the Turkey-Syria border was followed by a 7.7 earthquake.
The earthquake was incredibly powerful, unleashing widespread destruction without warning. A force so intense, it wiped out history in seconds.
As destructive as the earthquakes themselves were, unsafe, outdated buildings added to the hazard, particularly in Turkey. Numerous multi-story buildings were not made to endure these levels of seismic activity, causing them to flatten like pancakes. Construction regulations exist to help ensure safety during disasters like this. If the thousands of collapsed buildings are any indication, those regulations haven't been well enforced.
The twin earthquakes killed thousands. 300 died in this building alone. They're clearing the rubble, but thoughts of rebuilding are a faraway dream.
The Lewiston, Maine shootings.
Why do people do this?
In the history of U.S. mass shootings, 8 of the 10 deadliest incidents occurred in the past 16 years alone. 2023 marked the 10th deadliest when Robert Card entered a Lewiston bowling alley with a semi-automatic rifle. Taking 7 lives, Card made his way to a nearby restaurant, where the death toll ultimately rose by 8. With another 3 succumbing to their injuries, Card committed Maine's most fatal shooting spree ever in roughly 12 minutes.
Well, we were inside and it's a normal night of bowling, and out of nowhere he just came in and there was a loud pop.
fleeing from the crime scenes. Card remained missing for just over 2 days until the authorities found his body with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Not long after the shootings, hordes of Maine residents reportedly flocked to gun shops, supposedly looking to, quote, protect themselves, as one store owner put it.
And I could just feel the vibes from other people. So yeah, this is not good.
Donald Trump, still the Republican Party's safest/only bet. Trump's 4 ongoing indictments dominated headlines in 2023.
I mean, the only good thing about it is it's driven my poll numbers way up. Can you believe that?
Regardless, not only is Trump almost guaranteed the Republican presidential nomination come 2024, he's also just edging out Joe Biden in the polls.
The New York Times says this trend should be taken seriously. Quote, "The problem for Mr. Biden isn't too few young Democrats, is that many young Democrats don't like him."
Much has changed since they faced off in 2020, with increased concerns surrounding war and inflation. Age is another factor, although Trump is only 4 years younger than Biden.
At times appearing fragile, Biden's age and mental fitness were highlighted as concerns for voters.
While Republicans have been losing in key battleground states, Trump may end this trend. In the wake of the January 6th Capitol attack, it might have seemed unthinkable that he could regain power, but that's very much a possibility.
We will rout the fake news media right back there. We're going to rout them because they've got to learn. You know, they're doing very poorly. They're all going out of business because nobody trusts them. Nobody believes it anymore.
The Russia-Ukraine war continues. Few news stories captivated the world in 2022 as Russia's invasion of Ukraine did.
Within minutes, explosions were reported in numerous places, including the southern port cities of Odessa and Mariupol, as well as Kramatorsk and Kharkiv in the east, the Dnipro in central Ukraine, and the capital, Kiev.
While other headlines have since captured people's attention, the Russo-Ukrainian war remains very much in the zeitgeist. The conflict seemingly reached a turning point over the summer when Ukraine launched a counter-offensive. Ukraine has seen some success since June, recapturing more than 10 settlements.
What seems to be doing is Ukraine's just blasting away with 155mm artillery rounds, but also using specialist Western equipment to target the Russian logistics supply lines and the artillery near the front.
However, Ukraine has also suffered significant losses, with exhaustion weighing down on troops. With the front line moving at a sluggish pace, Ukraine isn't regaining territory fast enough. That's not to say Russia has already won, as there's still a future where Ukraine prevails. Neither side will be throwing in the towel anytime soon, meaning the war is bound to last well into 2024 and likely beyond.
The Russians are so numerous. They look like ants advancing while pushing us back. It's hard to keep our soldiers alive and to hold on psychologically.
The death of the middle class.
Have you seen gas prices around here in LA? It's $7 a gallon almost.
The middle class has been on life support for a while now. 2023 might have marked the time of death, with inflation being just one point of reference.
I can't even say I'm going to charge you a certain price right now because in 3 days, it's probably bound to change, you know, and it's never for the better.
While annual U.S. inflation rates were down compared to the past couple of years, people are growing nostalgic for the days when $2.19 per gallon sounded like an extravagant gas price.
My feeling when pulling up to the gas station is anxiety, stress.
It makes me very anxious and very stressed out.
Just how much it keeps going up.
Hallmarks that were once synonymous with middle-class life, i.e. 2 cars and a home in the suburbs, have never seemed more like luxuries. The term middle class may not go away, but the definition is evolving. Just because a 4-person household inches past the $30,000 poverty threshold doesn't mean they're living what was once considered an average life, further fueling social inequality. Immigration. It's not just one border anymore. When people think of illegal immigration, the border separating Mexico from Arizona, California, New Mexico, and Texas often comes to mind. Over the past year, the conversation has expanded north, with Texas Governor Greg Abbott sending migrants to cities such as New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Denver, and Washington.
When you look at what we're having to deal with, we're dealing with smugglers, we're dealing with
cartels. We need the mayor to talk about something more than just politics and sending people down here to knock on doors and campaign in the state of Texas. He has a job to do.
With those cities receiving a surge of homeless and jobless individuals by the busload, the hot-button issue of immigration is no longer restricted to the walled-off states.
Adding to the chaos, faulty paperwork.
Beyond the U.S., migration is sparking socio-economic debates across Europe as well. For people in North Africa, the neighboring Italian island of Lampedusa has been a popular entry point for decades. In September 2023 alone, nearly 7,000 migrants arrived, outnumbering the island's population.
At the moment, I hope that the situation improves and that they let us leave from here, because the living conditions here are not easy.
AI goes mainstream. From average Joes working in the service industry to A-list Hollywood actors, concerns surrounding AI have risen to an all-time high.
This new wave of sophisticated AI tools is raising some tricky ethical questions, as well as some big concerns about topics such as the future of human labor.
Whether you're excited by AI's potential or fearful that we're on a slippery slope to Skynet, 2023 confirmed that such technology isn't going anywhere.
There was never any stopping it.
In March, OpenAI launched GPT-4, the latest breakthrough in generative artificial intelligence.
From another perspective, it's a system that can make dreams, thoughts, ideas flourish in text in front of you.
GPT-4 has demonstrated the capacity to analyze photos, generate content, and ace standardized tests. While a step up from previous models, GPT-4 remains prone to hallucination, allowing misinformation to slide through. It may be mainstream, but AI is far from being perfected. Even so, there's no denying the convenience AI offers. The more convenient, the more it'll become integrated into our everyday lives.
Dude, how did you pull all that off? ChatGPT, dude.
Before we round out the year, here are a few other standout headlines. Barbie's billion-dollar year. As superhero movies declined, Greta Gerwig saved 2023's box office.
Right, as always.
The Titan submersible incident. Whenever it comes to the Titanic, we always underestimate what can and can't happen.
The Titan wasn't like any previous deep-sea submersible. There was no dashboard, just a touchscreen computer and a single power button.
The WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. Can we avoid getting to this point again in 2026?
This is a moment of history. That is a moment of truth. If we don't stand tall right now, we are all going to be in trouble. We are all going to be in jeopardy of being replaced by machines.
Matthew Perry's death. Nobody was ready to lose this friend.
I'm Chandler. I make jokes when I'm uncomfortable.
The Indian Space Research Organization launches Aditya L1. Keep watching the sun.
Large crowds gathered to watch the rocket carrying the Aditya L1 satellite blast off from the Sriharikota Space Center in the southern state of Andhra Pradesh.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. The Israel-Hamas War. On October 7, 2023, almost exactly 5 decades after the Yom Kippur War commenced, Israel was attacked by the Palestinian militant group Hamas. The Israeli Air Force responded to the rocket barrage by attacking Gaza. A war had officially begun, leading some to wonder if World War III was on the horizon. Whether or not other countries become increasingly involved in this conflict, the war has divided people all over. Many, including Joe Biden, threw their support behind Israel.
We must be crystal clear. We stand with Israel. We stand with Israel. And we will make sure Israel has what it needs to take care of its citizens, defend itself, and respond to this attack.
Others spoke out against Israel's retaliation, pointing to the innocent civilians in Palestine who didn't ask for this war.
My message to President Biden is, I voted for you, and I regret it.
While history is bound to look back at the war with varying opinions, there's no denying that this is the kind of tragedy that defines generations.
We will bring all the October 7th monsters to justice and everyone else as part of the Hamas terror regime threatening another October 7th.
Which shocking headline are you expecting to read in 2024? Try your luck at forecasting the next year in the comments.
1 year from now, the American people are going to fire crooked Joe Biden and the Democrat Party in a political earthquake that will echo all around the world, all around the world.